Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're just going to have a quick discussion on the Oscar nominations for 2022 for the 94th Academy Awards, and just give some overall quick thoughts and discussions on what I believe were the standout elements within all of the nominations. Now I won't read out the entire list of nominations, but I will leave some links within the descriptions if you want to have a look at all of the categories for all of the movies that were announced. Now, first of all, one of the big headlines was for The Power of the Dog, which was the most nominated movie, receiving 12 overall, including the likes of Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Actress, amongst many. The Netflix-produced Western drama was directed by James Campion, who previously won an Oscar way back in the mid-90s for The Piano, and I believe she's got the distinction of being one of the only female directors to be nominated multiple times for a Best Picture. Now, in terms of The Power of the Dog, and this is just my opinion, this is one of the nominations that I mostly disagree with. Having seen the film, I felt it was for the most part extremely ponderous and uneventful. Even with the supposed revelation at the end, it still felt very underwhelming and lackluster. I would say that Benedict Cumberbatch is definitely deserving of the nomination for Best Actor. He was easily the best performance throughout that particular movie. And probably as well, yes, you could give nominations for the cinematography, which was very good, along with the musical score that was very distinctive and really carried that film overall, even though I felt it was just too long and really didn't go anywhere. But apart from those, I wouldn't give it any more nominations, definitely not for Best Picture. Overall, I think this is another case of a typical art house entry garnering a lot of nominations. We've seen this so many times throughout the years of the Academy Awards going for these much more of these smaller scale art house movies just to try and gain more credibility. But certainly for me, The Power of the Dog is nowhere near deserving, definitely not for Best Picture overall. Another big headline was for Don't Look Up. This also received multiple nominations with 4 overall, including Best Picture. Again, another choice I strongly disagree with. This was of course the asteroid disaster drama starring the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill and Meryl Streep. And this had a far more of a satirical, comedic tune to it in terms of the overall scenario. But again, it was just way too long. It was close to nearly 3 hours and it was nowhere near as funny as what I thought it was. And it really didn't utilise any of the high calibre cast overall at its disposal. You get the overall point that the film was trying to make, but I think the fact that it was dealing with an asteroid or a comet heading towards Earth, I just feel with that sort of premise, it really didn't garner the credibility in terms of the story that it was trying to tell. So for me, Don't Look Up is definitely, again, not even worth, I would say, of any nominations, let alone Best Picture, and definitely not for any acting or storytelling performances either. So again, another choice that I would severely disagree with. Now, one big surprise headline was for Dune, which overall was the second highest nominated movie with 10 nominations overall. Now, I fully understand the ones for editing, visual effects and cinematography, as Dune was a very technically accomplished movie, but for Best Picture and Best Original Score, definitely not in my opinion. Dune overall was a decent film. You can check out my review of the film on the channel, but I really felt it just lacked a certain characterization and it didn't feel as completely satisfying overall, especially when we look at how the film ended. As we all know, it is very much the intended part 1 of what we would assume will get part 2. They have confirmed recently that they will be producing a sequel. We probably won't see that for the next couple of years or so, but I just think overall the film, whilst decent, definitely didn't garner a nomination for Best Picture. Now, was this far more of a populist choice by the Academy Awards? Now, we all know, as I mentioned before, and certainly in the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, they have tended to show far more favouritism to the far more smaller and art house films over the big blockbusters. And I think this has been a determining factor in the decline in ratings and interest from mainstream audiences in terms of the Oscars. But I don't think Dune was far more of a mainstream blockbuster in its sense. I think overall it managed to gross around just over 400 million at the box office. But at the same time, it's a big budget film that also has a lot of, I would say, more serious and art house sensibility. So I think the Academy Award probably felt that they could select Dune and still retain a lot of credibility in terms of what people would deem far more cinema. Okay, so that's probably the main reason why I think Dune was nominated overall, but definitely not a Best Picture worthy choice in my personal opinion. Now, other big nominated films included Steven Spielberg's remake of the classic West Side Story that ended up with 7 nominations overall. Sadly, that didn't garner much at the box office. We had Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley, which gained 4 nominations and that had very strong critical reception. Kenneth Branagh's Belfast received 6 nominations overall. Other movies in the list included the likes of Coda, Licorice Pizza, and also Drive My Car. Now overall, I would say that probably The Power of the Dog is the favourite to win Best Picture overall, although I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Belfast won, or maybe Nightmare Alley as well. So those would be my top 3 picks in terms of who I believe will win the Best Picture award, but we'll wait and see overall in terms of the awards. Now, in terms of acting nominations, we look at the Best Actor category, and Benedict Cumberbatch, as I mentioned, was already nominated for The Power of the Dog. Will Smith was nominated for his performance as Richard Williams in King Richard. Will he win overall this time? I believe he's received at least 2 to 3 nominations for the likes of Ali, and I think also The Pursuit of Happiness as well. There's been this ongoing debate as when will Will Smith win his award? Is he even worthy enough as an actor to win a Best Actor award? And I've always said that Will Smith is a competent actor, but a Best Actor role, I'm not quite so sure, but he did gain a lot of good reception for King Richard, so we'll wait and see whether he collects the statue this time round. Denzel Washington received overall his 10th Oscar nomination for The Tragedy of Macbeth. I don't really think he'll win this time, but we'll wait and see. Andy Garfield could have a good shout for TikTok Boom. Again, there was a lot of hype and buzz about his performance overall, and his profile, of course, was increased exponentially with his involvement within Spider-Man No Way Home as well. But when I look at these overall nominations, I think in terms of Best Actor, my favourite, who I believe will win the award, probably will go for Benedict Cumberbatch. In terms of Best Actress, the leader nominations included Kristen Stewart for playing Princess Diana in Spencer, Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tommy Faye, and Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter. Now, Olivia Colman previously won for 2018 for The Favourite. Now, in terms of the list of the nominees here, I'd probably say that Kristen Stewart is the favourite. There was a lot of praise for her performance rather than the film, I would say, for her role as Diana within Spencer. So probably going forward, I'd probably say she'll probably be the most likely to win the award for Best Actress. Now, I did look on social media and there was some disappointment the fact that Lady Gaga wasn't nominated for her role in The House of Gucci. And I don't really know why Lady Gaga has to be considered for the Oscars every time she performs. She's a decent actress, I would say, very limited experience, but I don't get the yearning and the overall desperation to have her win an Oscar award. I think the roles that she's played tend to be far more very showy, very Oscar bait roles. So maybe if she is to eventually win the award, it'll probably be for a far more understated performance in the future down the line. But again, I don't see the particular outrage in Lady Gaga getting snubbed. Another snub that sparked some social media outrage was, of course, for Spider-Man No Way Home, 2021's biggest film, currently sitting, I believe, at 1.8 billion worldwide at the box office. Many people were outraged because it only received 1 nomination for visual effects. And as I stated before, this is really to be expected. It's very rare that the MCU films do get nominated for Best Picture. I believe the last one was for Black Panther, but that was far more of what we could call a cultural phenomenon as well as a massive box office success. To be honest, whilst I really enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home, there's in no way, shape or form that I would deem that a Best Picture nominee. Maybe it could have got a few more awards, maybe for sound editing, but definitely not for Best Picture. And maybe, again, Spider-Man No Way Home is one of those films that I believe that the Academy is very much against because it's too populist, it's too commercial, it's too mainstream. That's not the kind of movie that they really want to showcase in terms of the Oscars, in terms of credibility. Those are my overall thoughts and feelings on the Academy Award nominations for 2022, which films I believe are the most standout, the choices that I agreed with or very much disagreed with. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe that the films that are nominated are truly justified? And if so, which films do you believe will end up winning the awards when they take place? I believe it's either late March or April. Did they get pushed back slightly because of COVID? But let me know in the comments if you believe which choices are the best overall. And are you still interested in the Oscars? Do you think it matters? I did mention before already the decline in the ratings, and certainly the perception is not what it used to be, definitely in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s as well regarding the awards. But let me know in the comments if you still believe they're still prominent, or do you think there should be some sort of shake-up in the way that the films are nominated overall? Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.